This is making me feel like really illiterate and really uncultured right now. Do you want, oh, okay, there we go, there we go. There we go. Oh, no, just lay down, you're fine. Oh my gosh, you don't need to be on my lap. Okay, can we get back? Okay, stop. Okay, are we good now? Hi, my name is Adriana, and today I will be reacting to an ultimate list, 56 books that everyone should read in their lifetime. So I came across this list on BookBub that is an ultimate list of 56 novels that everyone should read in their lifetime. And I love a good listicle. I'm a sucker. So this one was written by Christina Wright, and it was updated on April 15th, 2020. So it's fairly recent. So I haven't actually gone through the whole list. I saw the first couple a couple weeks ago when I first came across this list, but I archived it away because I thought it'd be a fun idea for a video to react to all the different books that are on here, whether they're books I've read and I recommend, whether they're books that have been recommended to me and are still just on my list, or whether they're books I've never heard of, or whatever. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to do kind of like a blind react. I'll put up the list somewhere if it's not already up. And starting off, looks like we're starting off with the best fiction books. Oh, okay, so it's broken up into genre, which might be kind of interesting. To Kill a Mockingbird. This is one of the ones that I kind of got away with never reading in high school. It was never required reading for me in high school or middle school. And it's something that I think I want to read at some point. It's on my list eventually, not top of mind. Pride and Prejudice. We'll probably never read this, but I can understand why it's on a list like this. 1984, do recommend that one. That is incredible, love it. Everyone should read 1984. A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. This is one I've never heard of. So there's a little blurb about the book. Okay, I don't know, sounds interesting. I'll add it to the maybe pile list. The Book Thief. This is one that I started many times as a child and never finished. Probably something that I should try to pick up again. I don't know, I hate to say it, but I'm just so burnt out on like World War II era things, so this might have to be kind of pushed off to a much later date because I'm just kind of over World War II. I've been ingesting a lot of World War II stuff. I knew this one was gonna be on here. I knew it, you knew it. We all knew this was gonna be on here. Brave New World. Okay, if you haven't seen the video of me reviewing Brave New World, I'll link it. I don't like this book. I don't think anybody should read it, and I don't feel bad about it. The Underground Railroad. I haven't heard of this book before. 2016. Okay, that sounds interesting. That might be something I pick up. Beloved by Toni Morrison. Okay, yeah, I've never read any Toni Morrison. She's definitely on my list of authors I need to get to. So we're gonna add this on a TBR someday. All the Light We Cannot See. This is a book I've seen everywhere. Seen. I'm so funny. But I don't actually know anything about it. World War II. Maybe on a much later date. Catch-22. Again, this is another one that's like, I hear about it all the time and I have no idea what it's about. It's one of those classics that just gets like thrown around and I have no idea what the story is. World War II. Apparently everyone just needs to know everything about World War II. Call of the Wild. Again, this is another one that like I've seen a lot and like heard people talk about it, but it's not actually one I know a lot about. Oh, so it's from the point of view of a dog? What do you think, Trip? Should I read a book from a dog? Fahrenheit 451. This is actually, I think, one of 2 books I actually read for my high school assigned reading. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I think it is a book that most people can get something out of, so I think it is worth putting it on a list like this. Love in the Time of Cholera. Again, this is one I've never heard of. It seems interesting. Might be something I could see myself picking up later. Lovely Bones. This is one that I think some people were reading in like middle school, and I just never picked it up. Ugh. Perspective of a murdered young girl. That sounds terrible. I don't know if that's something I'll actually pick up. The Alchemist. This is one, again, I've seen so many places and seen so many times, but it's not actually something I've ever thought to look into more, pick up. Sounds interesting. Might add it, might not. We'll see. Joy Luck Club. I've heard of this one too, but I don't actually know anything about it. 1949. This is awfully close to that World War II era where I was hoping to not be. But this might be interesting as it's about Chinese immigrants as opposed to white flyboys. Siddhartha. It sounds familiar. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I can actually post this video. Doesn't strike me right off the bat. The Great Gatsby. This is the other book that I actually read of my assigned reading in high school, and I did really enjoy it as a high schooler. I don't know if I actually learned anything profound from it as, you know, a 16-year-old reading it. It might be worth a reread, but I did really, really enjoy it. The Kite Runner. So this is one that I've seen it around a lot, but I don't actually know that much about it. Keep the tissues handy. Okay, well, let's go. I'm always down for a good cry. Ooh, The Handmaid's Tale. Oh, I loved that book. That's a good one. I really do think everyone should read that book. That gripped me and terrified me to my core, but I loved every second of it. The Color Purple. Wasn't that made into a movie? That sounds interesting. Sure, we'll add it to the list. The Little Prince. Isn't that a children's book? I mean, if it really is just a kid's book, I could read that like right now and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But sure, maybe we'll add it to the list. Their Eyes Were Watching God. Okay, well, that's a pretty strong opener. This book seems like it's gonna make me cry. The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. The only thing I know about Sylvia Plath is Emma Stone and Easy A making fun of Sylvia Plath.
So should I still bring the Sylvia Plath? Or?
No, you know, we can just stick our heads in the oven if we run out of things to talk about.
Probably won't read it just because of that. I just have like a distinct bias in the back of my brain because I worshipped Emma Stone. Ooh. This one, I'm surprised, April 2020? Yeah, I guess. If they updated this list again, I would be surprised if it's still on there. This one is hard because I do think I personally got a lot out of this series as a child. So I think if you're an adult and you've never read it, you probably don't need to read it. Like you probably don't need it. I mean, it's been tainted so badly at this point. Like it's probably not worth it. But if there's a young child in your life that wants to get into this, I think, you know, buy it used. And of course, you know, have it be part of a well-rounded education. I mean, don't let Harry Potter be the only thing your kid ever reads, but I do think it can get, I mean, it got me really into reading. I think it got a lot of other like kids my age and people in my generation into reading. So I think it is something, you know, if your kid is interested in reading it, I wouldn't stop them from reading it, but just kind of let it be. Slaughterhouse 5. Ooh, I liked this book. It was really weird and really freaky, but I loved it. I would highly recommend this one. The Left Hand of Darkness. Ooh, this first line's got me. Winter is an alien world whose inhabitants can change their gender at will. Interesting. Okay, actually, this is also on the list. One I never heard of, but it's on the list now. A Little Life. That might be interesting. Oh, it does have some trigger warnings. So, I don't know. We'll see if I'm ever in the mood. The Goldfinch. I don't know. This seems like a lot of really depressing shit. Remains of the Day. Interesting. Maybe East of Eden. Ooh, I did read this one. I do recommend it, but I recommend buddy reading because it is a slog. And there is a lot of stuff that when I was reading through it that I wanted to kind of talk through it with somebody, and I think that would have kept me a little more motivated. All right, now we're on to nonfiction, which I'm probably not gonna know any of these. When Breath Becomes Air. At the age of 36, Paul Kalanithi was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. This sounds sad. Why is everything so sad? Between the World and Me. Break your heart and elevate your conscience. Why is everything so sad? Eat, Pray, Love. Oh, this is like a meme now. I probably won't ever read this. Braving the Wilderness by Brene Brown. That does sound interesting. Editing Adriana, write this one down. Tuesdays with Maury. That seems interesting, but I don't know if I'll pick it up. I get enough advice from people in my life. The Glass Castle. Heartbreaking again. Why is everything so sad? Walden. I think I might save Walden for like when I'm old and retired and living in a cabin in the woods. Like I want to live Walden while I'm reading it. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. I think this is something that's kind of been in the back of my mind, is something I want to pick up eventually. So yeah, this is definitely on the list of something I want to read. TBR list. Into the Wild. In 1992, Christopher Johnson McCandless left his privileged life behind and hitchhiked to Alaska. Isn't that the dream? Just give up everything. Go move to Alaska. He disappeared into the wilderness with the intention of making a new life for himself, but only 4 months later, this is not the dream. Just kidding. Well, that took a turn. Diary of a Young Girl. I didn't read the whole book, but we did read quite a few excerpts in middle school for English. I've always felt kind of weird about the Diary of Anne Frank. It feels really intrusive. So I don't know if I'd feel really comfortable reading this whole book. I'm conflicted on this one. It's complicated. A Walk in the Woods. Ooh, it has a bear on the front. Cute. I love bears. His experiences became the wise, hilarious, and wholly entertaining A Walk in the Woods. Oh, that sounds fun. Yeah, I'm gonna pick that up. A Return to Love. I don't know. It doesn't sound that super interesting. A Year of Yes. Just like that Jim Carrey movie, Yes Man. I don't think she's saying yes to everything. I think she just says every invitation. So she's just going to like a bunch of Hollywood parties. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't sound that interesting to me. On the Road by Jack Kerouac. I probably won't read this. I'm gonna be honest. The Last Lecture. Everything is so sad. Everything is cancer or World War II. That might be interesting. Angela's Ashes. Irish Catholic Childhood. Ooh, I know some Irish Catholics. That is probably an interesting memoir. I think every Irish Catholic should have a memoir of their childhood. Tiny Beautiful Things. Probably not. Ooh, A Brief History of Time. I think this is something I might pick up on audiobook. Hidden Figures. Oh, I didn't know that was based on a book. Well, I'm gonna add it to the list. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I'm not big into self-help books. I'm not gonna read those. I'm gonna be honest. Ooh. I didn't read this whole book, but I read about half of it. It was what they called the common read for my university, so it was encouraged for all of the incoming freshmen to read this book. I mean, it is super fascinating and again, sad. Everything's sad, but this woman, Henrietta Lack, had her cells taken for medical research without her knowledge, and her cells they took from her helped develop the polio vaccine. So it's really interesting. I might have to pick it back up again. Unbroken. Ooh, my friend Sam actually recommended that I read this, and it is something I do want to pick up. I've heard of some of these. I'm not feeling as uncultured. Outliers. Ooh, nope, we're right back to I have no idea. That does sound interesting. My grandpa always says that luck is being prepared for opportunities that come your way. Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind. I like that title. A Brief History of all of humankind. So yeah, it's a book about the history of the past 70,000 years. Oh, Bill Gates recommends it. If a billionaire is recommending it, obviously we should all do it. I Am Malala. This is one I should probably read. Oh, and that's the end of the list. Okay, Adriana the Stats Nerd is here And after editing this video, I just kind of thought of a couple different concluding statistics and numbers that might make this video a little more interesting. So I'll just jump right into it. I have my graphs here, but I'll put them up so you can see them a little bit better. So the first thing I want to look at is in the fiction category. I separated out fiction and nonfiction just because I'm such a heavy fiction reader. It didn't really seem fair to conglomerate everything together. So as you can see up here, I broke it out into 4 categories. I have read it and I don't recommend it. I have read it and I do recommend it. I haven't read it and I probably won't read it. And I have read it and I might read it. So that's kind of like the 4 general categories. And I'm a little bit surprised that I've only read about 25% of the fiction books on here overall. I guess that's all I really have to say. I mean, I have a big chunk that I want to get to. I guess it is what it is. The next chart I want to show you is the percentage of books I have heard of versus the percentage of books I hadn't heard of. So I really only hadn't heard of like 30% of these. So I was, fairly impressed with myself there. I guess even if I haven't read them all, I've heard of most of them and have some sort of idea of their place in popular culture. I thought that would, give myself a little bit of credit. And then the last one I want to get to in the fiction category is a really good example of confirmation bias. I don't want to sound like pedantic or condescending, but confirmation bias is basically just when something feels true. So whenever you see that thing out being true, it just kind of adds to your little Rolodex of examples of this thing is true. So for me, that was all of these books are based on World War II. I said that. And so when I was going back and actually inputting all of these books into my little spreadsheet here and writing down whether or not they were set during World War II, I found that only like 13% of them were based in World War II. I thought that was gonna be more like 30-ish%, which to be fair, I think 13% is a little high. To have 13% of the fiction books that you think everyone should read be based in one 6-year period, that seems like a lot. But who am I to say? I'm just a silly woman who posts videos on the internet. And then as far as nonfiction goes, instead of breaking it out into 4 categories like I did with the fiction, I only broke it out into 2 categories because while I had read parts of some of these books, I hadn't read the whole of any of them. So I just broke it out into books I probably won't read and books I might read. And funnily enough, one of those crazy statistical coincidences, I also broke it out into books I had heard of and books I haven't heard of, and it was the exact same split, which is crazy. I mean, kind of interesting and kind of cool. So for nonfiction, as expected, I hadn't heard of a lot higher percentage of them, because I think in fiction, I only hadn't heard of like 30%, and in the nonfiction, it was about 45%. So, I mean, that makes sense to me. I don't know, I thought that was some pretty interesting little statistics. So I'll take it back to past Adriana to do the outro. But yeah, I think this was definitely a wake-up call for me that I should be reading. I don't know, I enjoy what I read. I should be mixing some more challenging reads into my reading from time to time. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.